You're watching the 49ers Report by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Chase Senior. Coming up on today's show, I put together a list of 5 Niners who I think deserve more snaps until the end of the regular season. And it's an interesting conversation to have because I do think there are some players on this roster who have really flashed either throughout the season or the last couple of weeks who I think are worthy of getting some more tick. Let's start off this list with Arden Key, a free agency signing coming over from the Las Vegas Raiders that I think is somewhat flown under the radar. But if you've watched the Niners defense improve over the last couple of weeks, a big reason for that, they've gotten a more consistent pass rush. Now, a lot of the attention goes to Nick Bosa and his 10 sacks, but Arden Key the last couple of weeks has gotten a lot of quarterback pressures, and he's doing it with great value in terms of the salary cap. A little background on Arden Key, 2018 third-round pick of the Oakland Raiders at the time. 49ers own the Bay, let's be honest, and they always will. And from 2018 to 2020, he played in 37 games, and during that span, only had 3 sacks for the Raiders and 8 tackles for loss. And in free agency with San Francisco, signed a 1-year, $1 million deal. 49ers getting a good bang for their buck because his 2021 stats, very good. 219 snaps this year, which is very limited as compared to some of the other players along this defensive interior and defensive line. 3 sacks, so he's basically matched his total from the last 3 years, 6 quarterback hits, and 3 tackles for loss. The big key with Arden Key, and he's put up these numbers over the last couple of weeks, which is really impressive, he's got versatility to his game. We look at a guy like Eric Armstead. We look at a player like Charles Omenihu, who the 49ers traded for on NFL trade deadline day. They have versatility where they can line up on the edge or they can line up inside. Arden Key's sack last week came with him being an interior defensive lineman, and I always like players who can play a multitude of positions. Arden Key as a depth piece has been able to really rise up and show what he's capable of doing and live up to those expectations of being that 2018 third-round pick after Javon Kinlaw went out for the year. I think he deserves more snaps. Have you been surprised with what Key has been able to do under DeMeco Ryans the last few weeks? Type 1 for yes, type 2 for no. Be sure to get those votes in the comments section. This is going to be the pinned comment on today's video, so if you get hit with that YouTube ad break, scroll on down to get your votes in, and by the time you do that, we'll be right back. As for Trey Sermon, I think he deserves more carries as well. If you're watching our live show, we talked about Trey Sermon earlier. I just think this guy has a lot of ability, and I don't think that his lack of playing time this year has anything to do with his ability. I just think that he's been slow to develop in his NFL career so far. But once he gets on Kyle Shanahan's good side, I think this third-round pick out of Ohio State is going to be able to be a feature back alongside Elijah Mitchell for a couple of years to come. You look at the numbers right now, and you're like, Trey Sermon, third-round pick, he's been a bust this year. My guy has ability on the ground and through the air. 41 carries, 167 yards, 4.1 yards per carry, and a touchdown. He just hasn't been able to get a lot of snaps this year, but the snaps that he got against the Jacksonville Jaguars with Elijah Mitchell out, only 10 carries for 32 yards, but that wheel route absolutely gorgeous on that touch ball from Jimmy Garoppolo, which really set up a 49ers field goal right before halftime with Robbie Gould. And if this guy can catch balls out of the backfield and be that dual threat back, I think he can add yet another dimension to this 49ers offense until the end of the regular season as the Niners make this playoff push. You talk about the ability that Trey Sermon has. Last year at Ohio State, after transferring over from Oklahoma, he was so good. Average yards per carry, one of the best in the nation at 7.5, 116 carries for 870 yards. He went off in the Big Ten championship game against Northwestern. When this guy gets a lot of carries, he's really able to find a rhythm, and I think we're going to be able to see that over time, whether it be this year or next year or in the years to come. But for this year, I think Trey Sermon deserves more burn. Do you want to see Trey Sermon a little bit more? Trey area over the next couple of years? That's going to be lit with Trey Lance and Trey Sermon. Let me know, though, with this question. Type M for you want to see Sermon more. Type L for it's all good. We got Jeff Wilson and Elijah Mitchell. Get those votes in right now. 49ers Report presented to you today by our sportsbook partner, BetUS. They're offering a 125% deposit bonus if you go to chatsports.com/49bet and enter the promo code Niners125. The last 2 weeks, I have been 8-2 in my weekly bets. I've been cooking, going on a heater. This week, kind of like the Niners to maybe beat the Vikings if you want to take them on the money line. I love gambling on football. Sports gambling is becoming legal in many states across America, but this deal applies for anybody, anywhere. So get your bets in and sign up. Chatsports.com/49bet. Enter the promo code Niners125. If you use that link as well as that promo code, that's how that 125% deposit bonus applies. What that means is you put in $100, you get an additional $125 back. More 49ers deserving of more snaps. How about Jaylon Moore? Mike McGlinchey a couple weeks ago lost for the year because of that torn right quad. And look, Mike McGlinchey, former top 10 pick out of Notre Dame from several years ago. Frustrating start to his NFL career, although he was about an average or an above average tackle before he went down with that injury. As for Jaylon Moore, drafted in the 5th round out of Western Michigan, and he got pulled after starting the game against the Jags, gave up a quarterback hit on Jimmy Garoppolo, gave up a sack. There was an instance where the line shifted at one point. Jaylon Moore did not. I think that's a byproduct of him being a rookie. And it's also pretty hard for a guy who is getting a lot of reps, especially a rookie at left tackle, and then having to shift over to right tackle. You ask offensive linemen about this sometimes, and they're like, have you ever tried to write with your opposite hand? Like, I'm a righty. If I had to write with my left hand, I wouldn't be able to do that. They kind of make that comparison switching from one side of the line to the other, and that's what Jaylon Moore has had to do because primarily he has been Trent Williams' backup. Now, the plan all along, according to Kyle Shanahan, was for Moore and Tom Compton to kind of rotate at that right tackle spot. I just think we know at this point what Tom Compton is. He's a journeyman backup offensive lineman. Is Jaylon Moore the future tackle at right tackle for the 49ers? I want to see more from him, and I've seen in flashes that he can also be a late-round steal. As for what Shanahan said about Moore and Compton rotating, he said this: we'll see how practice goes this week, but both of those guys are about at the same pace for us. One's got a lot more experience, which makes him a little bit more consistent, but we also believe in Jaylon and what he has done and what he can become, which I think is the key phrase there. So we're trying to play both of them until we see a bigger difference, and I think Jaylon Moore, you play him, he gets more reps, you're going to be able to see a big difference and the impact that he can make in the trenches for San Francisco. Make sure you subscribe to the 49ers Report by Chat Sports. During our watch party on Sunday, we surpassed 44,000 subscribers, and already we're 200 in to 44K. So if you want free daily videos, live shows every week, watch parties, when breaking news happens, we have you covered within the hour. Nobody's doing what we're doing here at the 49ers Report. We're not Big J journalists. We're entertaining and informative. Hit that red subscribe button for the best 49ers coverage on the internet. Two more players who I think deserve more playing time for the 49ers. Talanoa Hufanga. Now, when Jaquiski Tartt was out because of his respective injury, Talanoa Hufanga started at safety. And during that time, I saw some ability. And while Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch have missed on some draftees early in the draft, my gosh, they're pretty good, as well as the scouting department, at identifying guys later in the draft. Talanoa Hufanga out of USC, another 5th-round pick, who I saw some ability with during the preseason. And in the regular season, I've been impressed with him as well. So many people get obsessed with 40 times, athleticism, a guy being twitchy. Hufanga isn't any of that, but my man has great instincts, and he's got a lot of positional versatility. You ask him to play safety, he can play safety. You ask him to play a hybrid linebacker role as the league moves toward a more pass-happy trend, he can do that as well. You want to send him on a blitz, he can do it. Play in the box against the run, Hufanga can do that as well. That versatility is very important, and I think that bodes well and serves a lot of value for this 49ers defense. I want to see more from Talanoa Hufanga, even when and if Jaquiski Tartt continues to stay healthy. Lastly, another late-round pick for San Francisco, Deommodore Lenoir out of Oregon. He was one of the best rookie DBs in the preseason, and I thought he played well in spurts the first 2 weeks, against the Lions in that win and against the Eagles in that win. For whatever reason, though, there were a couple of blown coverages on the back end, and he was to blame for those. But he got burned for a 90-plus yard catch in week 2 against the Eagles. Quez Watkins, a burner for Philly, just beat him down the sideline. And Deommodore Lenoir was toast on that play. But what I loved from him was the mental resolve and his ability to come back and really finish that game strong. And in the first 3 preseason games, he was one of the best rookie DBs in the league. 69 coverage snaps, 2 interceptions, 2 pass breakups, and 1 catch allowed. I saw a lot of ability from Deommodore Lenoir. He's rangy from sideline to sideline. He's got some physicality to his game, really long arms. Of course, Deion Sanders gave him a shout-out in the preseason because he was all over just mauling Austin Watkins from that practice clip that the 49ers ended up getting fined with. But with the 49ers back end not in a great spot, having to play guys like Josh Norman, Drake Kirkpatrick before he was let go, why not play Deommodore Lenoir just a little bit? You can still get them big snaps as you compete for a playoff spot, but also get these guys ready moving into the future. I just listed 5 guys who I think deserve more playing time for the Niners. Which 49er do you want to see play more? Give me some names down in the comment section right now.